all now very clearly.
How is polyfab getting beyond the full
Look
screen?
into my eye. Look into my eyes.
Wow, look out for those teeth. All right, so it hasn't kicked me out yet. Let me make sure this thing is actually going to record. If it is, let me see.
I saw something that says the maximum time you can do a Zoom meeting is 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's 30, but let's see how it goes. So first, I like some of those videos been sending, Dino. Those I like that. I watched the whole thing. Well, I listened to it, the whole thing with Elon Musk, and then the Tucker stuff. That poor trailer lady trying to send her kid to a little play date. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that video. That was good. That was a good video. That was on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Did you watch that German scientist, the doctor that I sent this morning? He was pretty.
I did
watch that yet.
Oh, you gotta watch it because he's like the real deal, and he's like, it's a joke because you're dealing. This whole thing is no different than a flu virus.
No
different. And they've just like completely blew it up, blew it into another orbit when it wasn't necessary.
That's right.
Well, if we do this again, I'm getting a green screen and I'm going to be like on a beach somewhere.
I like that.
Did you see that Instagram video that I did where I was like on?
He's got lighting effects. No, you can do it right now, Rob. Let me tell you what to do.
Okay.
I'm an instructor. So go to the camera icon.
The camera icon.
Click on the camera icon.
Okay.
The only image of a camera on your whole screen anywhere. Just look for it. Poke around a little bit. You'll see it. It should pop up to your left, bottom left, most likely.
Stop video.
You don't want to stop video. You want to click on that though. Yeah, click on stop video.
Okay, now it says start video. That's
start video.
There it is. It says choose virtual background.
So choose virtual background. Choose that.
Okay. I did that. Now I've got
choose one.
It says computer doesn't meet requirements. Prepare a green screen behind you. Select I have a green screen option.
Oh, then you're right. You won't be able to do it with your computer. You can
Okay.
do it with Google Chrome.
Wait, so how do I?
I'm logged in with Safari.
Go to the camera icon.
Yeah.
And then click on the camera icon and pick virtual background and then choose one that you want.
There are none.
There are none. Where your camera setting is, where it says camera, what device are you using?
I'll add something. Hold on.
It does add the virtual background, it downloads. But it doesn't do it on Chrome. I was helping my daughter out. She goes, I want a background. All my friends, my 7-year-old Prima, she said, they all got backgrounds. Like, oh, I'll help you. I said, yeah, we could do that right now.
There you go.
There you go. And turns out that you can't do it on Chrome.
Oh, well, I'm in Safari and I still can't do it.
All right. Well,
how do you like my backdrop?
What is that? Ooh, I like that. Nice. That's perfect.
I think I'm going to cut out of this show because I don't have a virtual background.
Wait, now what computer are you on?
Me? I'm on an Apple.
Then it should work.
MacBook.
On a MacBook. All right. So in that window,
where it says choose virtual background. Now it brings up, it says none, and then there's like the Golden Gate Bridge and some grass and
click on any one of those. Click on any one of those that you like.
Let's see. I clicked on I have green screen. Let's see if it changes. Oh, look at that. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
It only gives me 3 options.
That's all you get, but you could also bring in one of your own. The only thing you're going to need is a little bit more light on your face, or kill the light behind you.
There's no light behind me. There's light on my.
All right, so it's the light in front of you. You just got to get that a little bit bright, and maybe you got to stay. Let me see the distance from your camera. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. You're a little translucent. Let me see. That one's a little better. Let me see. Let's try another one.
This one I know. That one.
Solid. You look like you're in the jungle, but in the weeds. You're definitely in the weeds.
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
Well, I gotta put some Amarillo in my coffee at this point just to be able to talk to you.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Break out that sake bottle.
Oh yeah, and that can't celebrate yet. I think. Oh, look at that. Dino's like off the hook. Oh, I like that.
Where are you getting all those from, Dino?
Dino, that's got vibes of your 007.
My son drew that.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I was gonna say you might get copyright infringement on that. Hey, that looks pretty good. Stick with that one. The cop line thing pops out like you're doing an ad. Stick with that.
There you go.
You're perfect. Don't mess.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it was by design.
Excellent.
You fit right into the globe with that shirt. All right, just one quick. I gotta step out for 1 second.
All right.
I'll
let Dino carry the show from till you get back.
I'm not gonna drink. I'll be right back. I gotta get beer. Hold on.
Yeah, see, he's getting it too.
I gotta get beer, man.
All right, I'll be right back. So you're gonna carry on the show for a minute.
Nice.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm here in Beverly Hills, and I just want to let you know that tonight I have two fantastic guests. Dino Lee, the famous Oregonian, and Professor Romeo Carey from Beverly Hills High School and Santa Monica City College. Both fascinating guests, and we'll be right back after this message. Stay tuned.
This is pretty badass, really.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I'm going to have to take a picture of that. Let's see. Let me get rid of that screen. Then look at Dino Lee all over the place. Wow.
Do you see a mask?
I don't see your mask. Are you wearing a mask? Are you wearing one of those Monica Lewinsky masks that has the hole in the mouth? That was pretty cool.
It doesn't work. For some reason, it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
My mask.
Oh, your mask.
I can see it here on my screen, but you can't see it.
Oh, yeah, it's a little tricky the way these things work. So putting a little cream in my coffee. Alrighty. All right, so here we go. We got all our technical stuff out of the way. I see Dino's got his drink. Rob's like
I'm playing with, I just took a picture of myself on screen.
Oh, sweet. You did a screen grab?
Well, I did a shot with my
oh, that's a nice
phone.
Let me do that too.
Look at that. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that. It's pretty sick.
There's Dino Lee on camera.
All right, so let's start this thing off with a little introduction. So this little episode is like episode 8 of Box Tot. It's my little podcast that I do, and I've had some interesting characters on it. This is still in infancy stage, but the truth is they're all really kind of unique and fun experiences. it's important to document yourself as much as possible. Otherwise, basically you've lost your tie to the world. You've left nothing, for anybody to recreate who you were. You did it. You were like a derelict of your own biography.
Can I copyright that?
Sure. But so the truth of the matter is you got to do more of these, because it's part of what, like, some of the greatest people on the planet that we remember left a diary. They left some meaningful expression of what passed through their life, right? So this is what this is. This is just a celebration of what we do, and what what's meaningful to us, and how we're at least crystallizing it in some form the best we can for this moment. And that in itself is, it's more than just going to sleep today, because all these things are forgotten. I've always regretted my whole life, because I've had, just like all of you, because this is a very interesting vortex right here. We're three kind of unique individuals that are really kind of standing on the shoulders of giants. We've had some interesting people in our lives, and related to really serious players in Hollywood, in music, in the real fabric of what we call Americana. And we have just as much. Look, we're, by default, we win because we're still here. We're them. That's the trophy for being the son of somebody, or also creating your own impression in the world, which that's kind of what this is about. We're creating our own expression, because we find ourselves in the shadows of our fathers that were so huge that we're stepping out of that shadow. And in doing that, this is it's nice that we have the ability to actually communicate and to transfer some information on, so people understand kind of who we are in a better way. But I've had the fortune of meeting you three through interesting means. So I'm going to take it first to the beginning. I always like starting stuff. When you do an interview, my favorite thing, because you've been around me long enough, is always take it from the very beginning, because it's a nice springboard. What could you say as the very beginning of our introduction, Dino? How did we first meet?
Well, we met at one of your father's rehearsals, I believe, at his studio in Almonte. And you were there, and I met you and met your girlfriend. And that's the way I met you. It's what I can remember. How do you remember it?
Yeah, you came in because you were gonna be the understudy.
That's it.
The understudy to the lead role, Quasti, an insect trainer.
That's right. I had just done Gross Out.
Yeah, you just finished.
Yeah, I just done Gross Out, and your dad asked me to come down and audition for his understudy, and I did it. I met you there, and your dad wanted me to do it, and he's told me that the reason why he liked me and he wanted me to do this part because he said I was fearless. That's what he said about me. That was one of the greatest compliments I ever received from anybody, especially from Tim, who was the most fearless man I've ever met.
Wow, that is a compliment. That's like marching orders.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But no, he didn't give that part to anybody unless he thought he was qualified.
Yeah. Well, he knew I wasn't scared because I had just done this crazy movie
Right.
gross out, and as a result, kind of gave me the intestinal fortitude to do a play about farting.
Tell me, who were some of the characters that you were working with that were in that play? Can you remember any of them?
And
The insect trainer,
yeah, of course.
get assembled, and mind you, there were heavyweight attorneys in there.
Yeah, I remember Joey Gaynor was a professor, and looking back at that rehearsal we did, many rehearsals, Joey was a professor, and he did a little routine in the courtroom where he was looking for his gas bill, and anyway, he ripped that off from an old Abbott and Costello.
Did he?
Yes, he did, which I didn't know at the time. But, having watched many episodes of Abbott and Costello since then, that's where he got the routine from.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was the one guy, what was his name? He was
Nick Arrow.
who?
Nick Arrow.
No, not Nick Harrow, but the other
Spear?
guy that had the little hat on, the little cap.
The Dish Jones character.
Dish, that was the guy. Dish, he was a character.
Yeah. There was also two attorneys that were practicing attorneys that were playing
Yes.
the federal prosecutor.
They played attorneys.
Yeah, those two attorneys, one of them was representing one of the policemen that were in trouble with LA. It was in all the news. It was
Oh yeah, Furman.
Furman, right. He was Furman. So here we got a guy in a fart play. The attorney was so awed by the idea that he could work in this play with my dad that here he was in this this kind of spotlight having to do with his job as an attorney, dealing with a front page representing a policeman that was in front. It was a front page news, and here he is showing up for rehearsals. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I liked Dish because he would always do his lines 3 or 4 times in a row, different ways.
What was his name? He was Art Fine liked them too. I forgot his name.
He would say, "I'm going to the store now.
Yeah.
I'm going to the store now. I'm going to the store now."
He was the balloon man.
Yes, he was a balloon man.
The balloon man, famous for being the balloon man too. He was on a lot of different shows. But so that was our introduction. And what and how did we meet Robbie Curtis?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to be on Box Tot, one of my favorite shows in this genre. And I also can't hear you, so that's one thing. Secondly, I am auditioning for a Paul Masson commercial because Orson Welles died, so they need somebody to be their spokesperson. How we met? Good question. Thank you for asking. My son Dylan was one of your students at KBEV, and you nurtured him, and all he kept talking about was Carey. I said, "Who's Carey? Is that one of your fellow students?" He said, "No, that's our teacher, Carey." I said, "That's his first name?" He said, "No, everybody just calls him Carey." I said, "No, you'll call him Mr. Carey. You'll be respectful." He said, "No, everybody calls him Carey. That's what I'm going to call him." So I decided I had to meet this guy, Carey, and I came one day to KBEV to see what it was all about, and was mesmerized by your ability to communicate with kids, your easy manner, your patience with them, and you've taught me many things over the subsequent years that I've known you, and that was back in 2008, I believe, when Dylan was starting with KBEV.
Yes,
so I've known you now about 12 years.
Wow, 12 years.
And we've had some interesting projects we've worked on, and a lot of laughs, a few good meals, and we get to talk about school politics and movies, and you've educated me to a lot of things about the history of filmmaking and about how to be a good filmmaker. So I thank you for all of that.
Welcome. Well, it's mutual, because I think first of all, just having spent 4 years with your son, that was a real honor, because he was such an example of someone who was raised with all the loving care and it's just you didn't find children that are raised that way anymore, with so many kind of just so many pearls of wisdom at such an early age, and so the intestinal fortitude to follow through on what he set out to do, and just a super smart kid, super polite, and you couldn't ask for a better son.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. I'm very proud of him. He's very successful now. He chose not to go into broadcast journalism, which was what he went off to college for, but he's carved out a nice niche for himself, makes a nice living, and is living a happy life. So that's all one parent can ask for his child.
And this were both parents, because the idea of getting him ready for the real world and where he landed and how it ended up, it's kind of, what did he do when he was young enough to take on all those like slings and arrows at such an early age, that put him, I think, ahead of the game when it came time to show up for what he's in now.
I think that's true, and I think when he went off to college, he was a broadcast journalism major, and when he started taking courses there, he was dumbfounded by the fact that he knew more than all of the other students and his professors. And I think that's what put him on a path to a career in business and finance, because he wasn't learning anything, and we were spending a lot of money to send him to school in Massachusetts, and he felt obligated to get an education and learn something he didn't already know. So how you prepped him and how you taught him, a set of skills that were foreign to all of these other students. I mean, he was head and shoulders above the rest of them, and they looked at him because he knew all of the answers to all of the questions, and he actually corrected his professors a few times about techniques and facts about equipment. Not to mention the fact that, at his school they had a nice studio, but it wasn't as nice as KBEV. So everything was like a step down when he went off to college. And, I know that when you came in, you retrofitted KBEV and brought everything up to date, and all the equipment was state of the art. And so he got the opportunity to really learn on the best equipment from the best instructor. And so again, everyone in the Curtis family says thank you, Mr. Carey.
Oh, thank you. And Mr. Dino Lee, also known as Robert Burke. I never called him Robert, even though I met your mom. I never had the fortune of meeting your dad, but I did meet your mom, your grandfather on your mom's side, your grandfather, and I followed Dino around for 20 years, shooting videos and doing just crazy stuff. It's been quite a run, and Dino himself has had quite a illustrious music career, all kind of driven by himself. One of the nicest things Dino said once was, when he moved to Texas and he had some real success at South by Southwest, that he said that your dad taught me that the rehearsal is more important than the performance, and it said that changed everything. Is that true? Is that how
That's correct. Yes. The rehearsal was the most fun part of the whole experience, in my opinion.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you look really spooky right now.
Well, I'm just playing the part. You've all dubbed me the vampire, so I figured I would just.
Oh my goodness.
And now I'll go back into my shadow.
Nice.
Very nice. Now that's a much better picture.
I'm playing the part here. I'm playing the part, Romeo.
Yeah.
You got me the vampire, so I'll be the vampire.
Yeah, no, it's good. You're right on. You're right on cue. We're all doing.
You like my catacombs behind me?
I love it. It's excellent. It's,
Okay.
everybody's got kind of something, some motif that kind of fits into some piece of your character. It's great. I kind of like it. I mean, because with Zoom you can mess with backgrounds. It's kind of nice. So
Anyway, so I was telling you the rehearsal became the best part of the experience because it's where you get to create new things. That's what I really like. That's why I enjoy the studio much more than playing live, because studio is a great creative outlet,
right, absolutely. Could you
much more than the live show.
could you give me a little of the beginning of where you got into music and where some of the points in your life where it took you?
Well, I used to play in a band with my cousin. We played all over LA in the 1980s, early 70s, 80s, and we did rather well. Prior to that,
What was the name of your band?
well, we had a band called the Whirlybirds, and we played all over LA, all the big clubs.
Are you the only bird?
I'm the bird.
You're the bird, so the whirly bird. So it was your band.
It was my band. And prior to that, I used to sing with my mother as a kid at the LA jazz clubs. When I was about 5 or 6, I started singing in a nightclub with her.
Wow.
And we went all over LA, different nightclub circuit. And she was also, my mother was also the opening act for Trini Lopez. And that was quite a fun gig for her.
Wow.
And then she played for years right next door to the Whiskey A Go-Go at Sneaky Pete's. She worked there with the Art Graham Trio. That was the gig she had for quite a while.
What years did she perform there?
At Sneaky's?
Yes.
In the 70s, late 60s, 70s.
Because I used to eat there all the time with my dad in the 60s, all the way through to the 70s.
Yeah, we'd eat there. We see Stiller and Mira there eating, and Ben Stiller's mom would eat like a horse. She'd be shoveling food in her mouth like a flipping horse.
I think Romeo, you need to make a disclaimer so you're not sued by Ben Stiller now about his mother.
I mean, no offense, she was a real pretty lady.
Yeah.
I liked her quite a bit. I liked her. I liked his dad. I thought they were very funny people, but they had really bad manners
Table man.
at the dinner table.
Yeah. Brando ate that way too. Brando ate like a slob. He just was.
Shovel it in.
Yeah, right. My dad ate that way too. He was just like, wow, it's like just kind of the beast comes out of some people. It's just time to eat. Wow, look at Rob's put on kind of a sign of the times. I like that.
Well, I'm just trying to make a statement for people to wear their masks. I find it disturbing when I sit outside my home here in Beverly Hills and people walk by constantly without masks on, coughing, talking, spitting, and it's disgusting. So this is my protest. Even though I'm inside my house, even though I'm all alone, I don't want to risk contaminating either of you in case I do have the virus through the computer.
Right.
But now I've made my statement, so now I will go back to being Orson Welles.
Where are you guys on this whole pandemic? What's your take? Where are we? This is May. We're at May 9th, May 8th. we're pretty far into it. This is the phase 1 of opening up in LA.
Yes.
And what do you think of what our governors and our federal government has created here?
Dino, you want to handle that?
You do it, Robbie.
Okay. Personally, I'm for a slow but steady approach. I like the fact that now they're opening up more stores and things to curbside service. I don't know how restaurants are going to survive if they can only have 25 or 50% capacity. I don't know how offices are going to function with people in and out, but they're doing it now. I mean, my son works virtually since, I don't know, the start of April. He hasn't been to his office. And I don't think he's supposed to go back until maybe June 1st. And then they're going to alternate who goes into the office on what days. I think the economy needs to open up. That's for sure. You know, people are dying out there. People are starving. You look at these long lines of the food banks. I mean, they're stretching for miles. People are really hurting. So on one hand, you know, you need to open the economy the economy so people can survive. On the other hand, you don't want people breathing on you and giving you some disease. I'm in, you know, the group that probably will be the last one that they suggest leaves the house. I bought a new car in March 6th. I drove it for a week, and on March 13th, that was the last time I went out. I've been out to the doctor a couple of times, and that's it. So I've really been sequestered and quarantined, and that's why both of you, I've sent you silly texts and crazy pictures because I'm bored. You know, I'm doing as much work as I can on the project that maybe we'll talk about later in this interview program. But you know, there's only so much you can do sitting in front of your computer. You need that personal contact, and in what we're doing, we need that face-to-face with people to conduct these types of interviews we need for our project.
Right. What about you, Dino? What do you got to say?
I think that first of all, I want to let everybody know I'm being sequestered in an amusement park ride.
Is that
I'm in the old
that
jungle ride.
that gorilla part of that orangutan mania thing?
No, this is a ride from Pacific Ocean Park,
Oh,
POP.
Oh, I love going to POP.
I'm being sequestered in an old POP ride.
wow.
Yeah, it's rather nice. I enjoy it. These people aren't real. They're actually dummies. These two people that are shocked. They're dummies. The gorilla's real.
Oh,
But the people are dummies.
Well, you can tell the gorilla's real.
Yeah, he's real. His name is Bingo. Bingo the gorilla. Anyway, what do I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think that if we were going to do a proper quarantine, we would have quarantined the most at-risk segment of the population. And we would have let the healthy population absorb the virus, build antibodies, and have the virus burn itself out within the healthy population, while the people in rest homes and people that have asthmatic diseases, you know, all kinds of various, the infirm, the sick, the elderly, they should be quarantined. But the healthy people should practice good hygiene, wash their hands, don't cough on people, that type of stuff.
Right.
And they should be allowed to go to work and do their thing. That would be the proper way to do a quarantine. By quarantining everyone, all you're doing is prolonging the disease. the disease won't hang around much longer the way we're quarantining right now, because it's still out there and it's not going to go away until we develop antibodies. And as a result, we're just prolonging the inevitable. When people go back to work, the virus will kick up again, and there'll be more deaths and more sickness. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Dino. I think from everything I've gathered, and I spend as much time as I can, and I have more time than usual to really absorb myself in the whole global outlook, listening to people from Germany and Korea, looking at the Chinese, looking at the Italians, not just focusing on what I'm hearing from mainstream media here, but trying to get a diverse kind of cross section of scientists and virologists. And I started listening to virology from Columbia University, guy who teaches virology courses to really understand virology at a real basic level. And I scored A's on all his tests, so I'm following the literature. But he does a podcast, and the truth of the matter is, everything that I'm learning is this is nothing more than the common flu. And that you're right, it should make its way through the population as fast as possible. And all your energy should be spent on protecting old folks' homes, whatever you can do for the elderly, put all the money into that to safeguard that population, because that's the population at risk, the ones with compromised immune systems and the elderly. And do you know the average death of the people who die? Which, look, my heart goes out to anybody who dies of a flu virus or of corona. But the fact of the matter is, the average death of the people who succumb to corona is the average age of death. And now what I'm coming to learn is that you got to wonder what motivates this kind of draconian road that we've been drawn into, and now we've surrendered our civil liberties, and just there's what's amazing is there's not a bigger outcry in like saying enough is enough. We need to survive, and we need to get about our life the way the way we know how to survive. But what threw a monkey wrench into that was throwing out free money.